Humanity's fascination with horror is a testament to our complex psychology and our enduring curiosity about the darker aspects of life. From ancient folklore to modern cinema, our obsession with horror has woven itself into the fabric of our culture. It's a genre that taps into our deepest fears, serving as a means to confront and process the anxieties that lurk within our collective subconscious. Whether through spine-tingling tales of the supernatural or the exploration of the human capacity for cruelty, horror allows us to explore the boundaries of our emotions and the fragility of our existence. It offers a peculiar blend of fear and exhilaration, reminding us that in the face of the unknown, our imagination is both a source of dread and a powerful tool for understanding the mysteries of our world.
Yeah, intro time and go.
I am your co-host, Spoopy Autumn.
I am Joop,
He,
also co-host,
yes,
uh, and stuff.
and stuff.
We're very good at
Co-host,
this. Yeah.
production manager, all the things. That's what you are.
I mean, I would say you're main host. I'm just here to hang
Uh,
out,
I can
and then I do
consider
the
us.
editing.
I consider us co-hosts.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Spook enthusiasts.
spook enthusiasts.
Yeah. And I think we were also spooky life coaches after the last episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's spooky life coaching. We do
Spook.
that as well.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
Yes. And as a treat for us and for all our listeners, we've decided to start opening each episode of our little podcast video conglomerate thingy with
Conglomerate.
trivia. We're going to ask each other a spoopy trivia question. So, you want me to go first and
Go
ask
for
you?
it. Go for it.
Okay.
I
Um,
don't be ashamed of me if I suck.
Same. I don't want to lose any street cred, but
Right? That we're in danger here. But anyway,
I'm also very old now, and my memory sucks.
there's that. I feel you there.
um, I will be nice and make sure that you've seen the movie before I ask you a question. I know you've seen these, so all right. Nancy Thompson survives A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, to
Hmm.
appear in what sequel in the series?
Now, the problem with that one is we binged them. I don't remember when happened where, and I don't
Do
remember what they were called.
you
Ah,
remember anything about the sequel she was in?
was she in the one in the insane asylum? Yeah, I
Yeah.
just remember which one that one was called.
Yeah, that was Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Oh, it was Dream Warriors. I
Dream
should have
Warriors.
gone with my gut.
Yep, always
I
go with your gut.
because I just remembered she was the one, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're the one who,"
Yeah.
and she was all like, "I know Freddy," and then
Yeah.
and then that was the one where he marionetted the kid, right?
Yeah.
That one was so
Yep.
messed up. That
Yeah.
scene still gets me every time. I don't remember if you've seen this movie, but I think you have.
Hope so.
Now these cards, because I know you gave me Trivial Pursuit. These cards are just a little stack of cards I got from Spirit, or my husband got from Spirit Halloween. They're just fun to
Oh,
do.
yeah, now that we're recording, I'll show it again. I used my little mini travel size horror trivial pursuit. So,
We'll get one of these every week. What movie used the tagline, "Just because you're invited doesn't mean you're welcome"?
oh,
I think you have seen this though, because I
oh
still
shoot.
haven't.
Is it The Initiation?
No,
Hold on.
I
I
don't know
know
what
that
that movie is.
tagline.
Yeah, I know you do.
Okay,
Okay, I'll give you the list.
okay.
An American Wolf in London, House of Wax, Get Out, or Cabin in the Woods.
Okay. Shoot. I'm gonna go with Get Out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I needed the multiple choice for that one too because I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah.
But that was like,
Wow.
of those ones, Get Out's the
In
the
this
pursued.
episode, we're gonna explore personal spoopy experiences and encounters with the
Mm-hmm.
paranormal, starting with our own, since we don't have any submissions yet. But go ahead and listen to ours, and if it sparks any memories or you want to send us any memories, please feel free.
Yeah, we definitely are gonna put calls out for that later because we want to hear other people's too.
Definitely.
But I think we have enough between the two of us to fill an hour easily.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Hopefully.
Like some of them are quick, like, oh, I had this happen and that was it. But others are a
Yeah.
little more crazy, a little more intense.
I
So I
don't
think I.
know that.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not so sure that mine are like that crazy, but I think I think yours will cover some.
I have at least one.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I brought up last time, the last episode when I thought there's a ghost looking at me through my hallway,
yeah.
and it was just I realized in hindsight, like as an adult, once I had my own child and stuff, it's probably just my dad looking in on me and my
Right.
half asleep like brain processed the whole situation and entirely differently
Hmm.
because it was a whole creepy like the guy walked out of my dad's room, stopped at my bedroom, looked in and stared for a while and then walked away. And I think it
Yeah.
was only like 5 seconds, just like a quick like a parental like, okay, my child's alive.
Right.
And then walk away. But when I'm there and I think there's a ghost staring at me, because like in my head the memory is like this translucent blue guy with like this really creepy weird lighting, and like so it is one of those like one day I was looking on a mini Joop and I'm like, oh, that's probably what it was. It was my
Hmm.
dad doing this exactly.
Yeah.
So that one's been explained. I mentioned it last episode, but
Yeah. That's funny.
so
Oh, oh, that reminded me of a tangent that
okay,
I forgot to talk about last time.
go for it.
I remembered after, of course, after we were done last time, that
Yeah.
the first thing I think that ever scared me that I can remember was the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
And your story about being checked on in bed reminded me of that because, like, the first time I ever thought there was something spoopy in my room at night, I saw some shadow in my room of like clothes on a chair or something,
Oh
and
god,
it
that's the
looked
worst.
like the Wicked Witch, and I could have sworn that the Wicked Witch was in my room. I'm sure I was like 4 or 5, but
Mhm. Mhm.
so that was my first like real spooky
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, the pile of clothes on the chair, the
yeah, yeah,
the like a towel or a sweater hanging from your closet door, like all those
yeah.
things. It's always like you get that brief look and it's like, "Oh god, what's in here with me?" I know there's one night I went out for a walk with my best friend growing up. She'd come over for the weekend and we used to go for like midnight walks. 'Cause I lived in a little town. Like
Same.
like it was a town of like 500 people, maybe 1,000 people at
Oh,
most. It was
that is small.
very small. Like
Wow.
it was just a little town on the river. Everything would go dead at night. Like the one store was open because the gas station was needed for anyone driving through town, right? But like we would just walk around town,
Yeah.
go to the park. There'd be baseball diamonds because despite being such a shitty town, like we had professional level baseball diamonds for some reason. And like I remember one day they had a
Oh.
like a World Series, not actual World Series, obviously, but like there was a team from Japan
Oh, wow. That's
playing
serious.
our teams locally, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I live in Canada for the record. Like, um, but yeah, so we had like these really good baseball diamonds and a park, and like the train tracks were right behind the park, and like had a bunch of like, weird experiences there. We go to the park at like midnight, and I know one night we were leaving, and I thought I heard someone whispering to me. And I like turned and looked behind, and at the behind the park on top of the hill where the train tracks are. It's like there's a train track and then there's these like hills and a field. There was just
Mhm.
like it looked like a really tall dude standing there watching us.
Creepy.
And no one else saw it. So I'm like, am I just having hallucinations? Like,
Whoa.
because like I heard someone whispering my name, and I
Ew.
was at the back, so it's not like one of my friends behind me came back and was just like, Joop. And I was just like, what the fuck? And I looked, and I'm like, that is terrifying. So there's
So
that
you saw a figure
standing on the hill.
that no one else could see?
No one else noticed it.
Oh, so you didn't like be like, "What is that?" And everybody's like, "I don't see it."
No one was looking at the time I saw it. So
Okay.
like I was like, what the fuck? And then we all looked and there was nothing there. So either it was like a trick of something,
Mhm.
or I was having like a fucking hallucination I didn't know was a thing I was having,
Mhm.
or my imagination got so wild that I was like, because I love to freak myself out when I'd be out
Yeah.
at night, right? Like I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh my god. But that was the story I actually wanted to tell. I just remembered this one. And so my friend and I had gone out walking, and we'd gone to the park where the baseball diamonds were. And we're walking around and we just hear and like that sound was repeated over and over again, and we're like, is someone fucking like digging a grave or some shit in the middle of the baseball diamond? Like, so now we're all like 13 and got ourselves convinced there's a serial killer in my tiny town. They've killed someone and are burying them on the baseball diamond.
Of course, that's like you would.
And we got ourselves all freaked out, and we ran home. We're like, dad, you gotta do something. There's like serial killer or something. My dad's like, there's not a serial killer, and if they're gonna bury someone, they're not burying it on the baseball diamond. They'll be really obvious. Like,
That's funny.
and we're like, will you come with us to check it out? And he's like, no. You still like, just there's nothing going on. And I'm like, ugh. So we're like, can we take the dog at least? And he's like, yeah, fine, whatever. There's nothing going on. It's just in your imagination. Oh, it's a good thing it was, but So we
Right?
go back, and then we like sneak onto the ball diamond with the dog, ready for the dog to like murder a murderer for us.
Sure.
And it was the fucking sprinkler system.
Oh my gosh.
The sound of the sprinkler going sounded
Right.
like a shovel hitting stone.
I can see that. Yeah, I can understand.
But we were just
That's so
determined there was a
funny.
serial killer in there. We were like, we were gonna
Yeah.
catch them because we were so tough. And I'm like, wow, fucking hell,
Pair
we
of
were dumb.
tough 13-year-old Canadian hanging out in
Yeah.
500 population.
And my dad's just like, whatever, just go. And I'm like, what if it was a serial killer, Dad?
Oh my gosh.
I'm definitely a little more of a helicopter parent than my father was. That's for sure.
How did you turn out so cool growing up in such a I'm sorry, I'm insulting all small towns everywhere because I'm from one too, but like my town was like 13,000 and I thought that was freaking small.
Such a little
Yeah.
town, and I became so cool because I didn't hang out with anybody, and I went to the library.
Yes.
And spent all my time at
Yes.
the library and my adult family because I was the first grandkid on both sides. So I didn't have any other cousins to hang out with until I was like they were all born when I was 4. It was a good 4
Wow.
years of I was the only grandchild on both sides of the family. I was spoiled.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Um, I so I always hung out with the adults. I had no cousins till I was. I mean, I had a couple cousins my age that were like my mom's aunt had a kid, so it's technically my mom's cousin, but they had their kids when they were like 50. Like,
Yeah.
and so they're in my class, but I didn't hang out with them. So like I didn't the first few years of my life I was only always hanging out with adults. I would talk to the adults, and everyone talked to me like I was a person, not a child. So like
Yeah.
so I got really into like things beyond my years, and I didn't like hanging out with all the kids at school because they were mean and dumb and like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
I've I see more and more the more I learn why we just have so much in common.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know my aunt's house. Okay, so this could dox me, but I don't. Whatever. Um, my aunt's house, the one that's creepy. Her house used to be owned by a magician who had
This
an
is
abusive
great.
mother.
Whoa. Oh no. Oh no.
And So someone went as a housewarming gift because they were fixed up the house. It's like got the whole tin roof, not tin roof, but tin ceilings in the kitchen and all that sort of stuff. And it's got the old panel wall, and they've painted. It's an amazing, beautiful house, gorgeous
Uh-huh.
house, old brick house or whatever.
Yeah.
But they actually have like some place has a whole movie about it.
How
And
do I not already know this? Oh my god.
well, I was saving it for this episode.
So great.
But that's the house that whenever we go, because we go to her house every year for Easter, because she's the aunt that hosts Easter. Um, and the moment I walked into that house, I just felt uncomfortable. Like I
Did
felt
you know that it had been owned by an abused
not yet,
magician?
not
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
I just felt uncomfortable about it. And I don't remember the details of it, but someone as a housewarming gift had given her this like video set about the history of the magician. And so we sat down to watch it. And suddenly all the feelings I got, like it's not as bad on the first floor, but if I go up to the upstairs,
Uh-huh.
I just feel intense panic I cannot explain.
That I remember you telling me about.
Yes. So there was a while there where the only bathroom in the house was upstairs, and I would hold my pee for hours, so I only had to go up once or twice while we were there.
Oh my
And I would just
gosh.
be sitting there on the toilet going, "Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, finish fast." And then I would run down the stairs. Like I couldn't, and even like if I was up there with someone, like I remember because I'll go up there now. I won't for the bathroom. Like I'll go up there for things if someone's with me. I
Uh-huh.
still feel it, but I have someone with me. So I can push through. But when I'm by myself, it's not happening. I can't.
Oh my gosh.
And I still to this day I can't. And I don't know what it is. It's just the moment I got halfway up the stairs, I just had some feeling wash over me. And it was
Was this
like
before or after you watched the
before.
Okay.
Now, there's also a story I heard later where when they'd first, I don't know if they first got the house or they were looking at it, everyone was standing in the front foyer and they heard footsteps coming down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't here for this, so this is a secondhand story. They look and they're like, wait, everyone's here. Who's walking down the stairs? And then the footstep sounds came to where you could actually see, and there was no one there. Because it's like
Freaky.
a stairway that goes down. And
Uh-huh.
then, no, my grandpa says this never happened because he's a super, like, skeptic. But
Uh-huh.
my aunts are like, no, seriously, we heard this. And then the front door opened.
Oh.
Yeah. So I heard this one way later. I'm like, no wonder I'm fucking terrified of this house. Like,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so we watched the video and started talking about how abusive his mom and was and how controlling she was, and he was a magician and he traveled the world. And I'm just sitting here like steadily like sinking in my chair, like glancing up to the stairs because it's like that's where I felt all the discomfort,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
like whenever I went up there and I'm like, I can't. So
So what just kind of an inexplicable freaky feeling or
yeah, like bad
did you feel like
energy.
something bad happened there or like just bad energy or
Yeah, I just felt really negative energy, and that's not something I normally like put a lot of credit in.
especially people with anxiety, it's hard to, like, is
Well,
that
yeah,
just
it could
me
have
or
been it could have been random anxiety.
but then you learned that stuff went down. This house, your whole family lived in the same town or
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
okay.
Eventually, everyone like grew up and moved to like towns surrounding, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the only one who moved far away. Everyone else
Yeah.
stayed pretty close.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow, it's starting to sound
it's
like you could do a spooky series about the town.
right. I don't know if there's that
Wodos and
much.
I want to do that about our town too, I think.
You could probably do that way more about your town than my town.
I don't know. So, like, okay, did anything in particular happen upstairs in that house when the magician and his
Not that I
did
know
it
of.
did he live there alone or did he live with his
He
mother
lived there
there?
with his aging mother,
Okay.
so I'm gonna assume she died in the house.
Oh, you don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Maybe he murdered her and then he walked down the stairs covered in her blood and went out the front door.
Maybe. I don't think it was that bad because it says he died in 96 and doesn't seem that dramatic. But
Oh,
and it might have also been like, sometimes documentaries just make things seem way more dramatic, which sometimes comes across as creepy.
kind of like our podcast is probably doing too.
Look at those spooky stairs.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so it was a bit of that, I think too.
yeah,
I don't think it was as creepy as it sounds, but just like really the old creepy house the moment I walked into, I felt terrified. Was
yeah,
owned by a magician who had to quit being a traveling magician so he could stay home and take care of his mom, and there's probably some resentment.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I
so
I'm gonna have to learn more about that.
I might be remembering it wrong too. As I watched that like documentary when I was like 12 or some shit. So like
Yeah, that's awesome though.
it's just interesting.
You could, yeah. I just made a note in Trello about. I guess that doesn't necessarily count as an unsolved crime or a true crime because there wasn't a crime,
No,
but
but
just like spooky
it's
stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
but just so like random. Like really, your house is owned by a magician who was
right.
well known enough to have a documentary about him. Not that like it's hard to make a documentary, but
Yeah.
as long as you have the money to do it, anyone can make a documentary. But
Yeah. Wow.
yep,
Did you? Were those the only experiences in that house that you've had?
that's the only ones in that house. It was just the
Okay.
feeling, and then I heard that story about the thing. And my aunt said you can tell. Like my aunt has told me things. I can't remember half of them were because I was like, doesn't matter. I'm never coming back. I'm going upstairs. It's fine. But like things like you can tell when she's upset and stuff.
You
Like
can tell when the ghost is up.
yeah, like
Okay, the ghost of your military aunt's house.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's
So
like
she does think that it's haunted
she
by the
thinks
guy's
it's
mother.
she thinks there's something, but she's not concerned about it. And I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know how you didn't feel that. Like just insane negative energy. Like holy
Hmm.
crap. But I
Wow.
also might be crazy.
Or
Because
maybe you're just more sensitive to things than your aunt. I don't know.
or it could just be anxiety.
Or or maybe it's anxiety.
It could be. I could have just had been having a really bad like panic attack and it just happened to coincide with me going upstairs and I just associated to going upstairs and not the house or not like I associated to the house and not I was surrounded by a bunch of people
Hmm.
on a day I was having an off day.
Right.
But it just I still get those vibes there and it's
Yeah.
like I love the house. It's such a nice house, but I can't handle being in it very long.
Even downstairs.
Even downstairs. We usually hang out outside because it's usually nice weather for Easter.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And she's got
Huh.
a really nice backyard porch and stuff. I generally only go inside. Occasionally, we'll go inside to eat at the table in the dining room,
Right.
and occasionally we go inside if I go to the bathroom. But otherwise,
Yeah.
we generally stay outside.
Hmm.
It just depends.
That's so fascinating.
I know, right?
I can't wait to learn more about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I only really have two like other ones. One small. I just had one of those incidences where you wake up in the middle of the night and you just feel like someone's sitting on your chest or
Hmm.
like holding you down, but there's no
Yeah.
one there.
Sleep
Yeah,
paralysis type
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. The sleep paralysis. I've had that.
I've had that too.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. So is
Because
that it just that sensation and that was it?
yeah,
Or
nothing else happened.
okay.
And I also felt like cold around my mouth. Like it
Huh.
felt like there was a hand on my mouth, but it was cold.
Creepy.
Yeah, but then I was fine and it went away. So I'm like, but it was so weird.
Wow.
The other one, I think I've told you this one, but I can't remember for sure.
Hmm.
This is the one that always sticks with me, and I've told this story a lot. I've actually told it in my public speaking class in college,
Mm. Nice.
and apparently freaked everyone out. But yeah, so I was at my friend's house. I was a teenager. We were in high school, and I was at my friend's house, and we were alone. It was just two of us there because we were old enough that they could leave us alone now. And we were in her basement because that's where her like gaming TV room was.
Hmm.
And we were playing Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time because I was there for the whole weekend. It was just the two of us, and we'd been given money to order pizza and do whatever. And
Kick-ass.
yeah, so we're like, let's play. Let's see if we can beat Legend of Zelda in the weekend.
Nice.
Basically, doing speed runs before we realized speed runs was a thing. And so she's playing. It's her turn to play, and she's just kind of sitting cross-legged on the floor, playing the game away. And I'm sitting on one of her little seats that she has, and so the wall is like a foot away from my left side of my left shoulder,
Okay.
and I think there's like 3 feet to the wall behind me, but no one's there. It's just us two,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel a hand on my left shoulder,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
mean like they grabbed my shoulder and squeezed. I could feel the thumb at the back and the forefingers.
Mm.
And I completely froze up because I'm just like, what the fuck? There's no way anyone could be grabbing me. So what the fuck is that? And
Mm-hmm.
immediately, her little dog, little Jack Russell, just whipped around from where he was laying completely still and started barking over my left shoulder. Like,
Wow.
barking and growling and freaking out. And my friend looks at me, she's like, what? I'm like, we have to go. I cannot be here. So she didn't even ask questions. We just ran up the stairs. So we had to go run up to the first floor and then up to the second floor where her bedroom was. And the whole way, her dog is turning around, barking at something behind us.
Fuck. Was the dog running with you too?
He's running with us too, and just
And barking
occasionally
at someone?
stopping to bark, like to like protect us, right? Like he was in like protection mode.
Oh.
And now, of course, it's dark. We had all the lights off because it's like midnight, 2 a.m. or some shit on a weekend. We had all the
Mm-hmm.
lights out because we had gone downstairs into the basement.
Right.
So every time we looked behind us, it was just a hallway with black at the end. So then we run, and so we get up to the second floor, and he's still barking down the stairs as we run up. And he's like freaking out. So we run into the door, like into her bedroom, and slam the door shut after he's come in. And
Mm-hmm.
he just sat at the door and growled and barked for a good 15 minutes.
What the hell? Was
And
he
so,
prone to doing that?
no. And he was actually like, I hate that dog.
Oh,
And if you know me, hating an animal,
yeah.
he was such a little asshole that I actually hated that dog.
Oh.
But something happened that like whatever happened there freaked him out. And I don't know if it was there was actually something or if I had a nerve reaction and me panicking
Mm-hmm.
caused him to freak out. Because,
Yeah.
dogs are sensitive to that sort of thing.
Right. But he wasn't barking at you when you were running. He was barking
He
behind
was
you.
barking behind us.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Wow.
what freaks me out about it. Because,
Yeah.
like, every other story I've had, I could probably explain away.
Yeah.
Like, the feeling could be anxiety. The shoveling was a freaking sprinkler.
Uh-huh.
The guy on the hill, that was like the whole park in a field away. It could have been anything. It could have been a tree at the wrong light.
Right.
you know. So like
Right.
every other story I can explain, that's the one story I can't fully explain away. Cuz like even if it was I had a weird nerve thing. It's not like human bodies don't do weird shit like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He it was like instantaneous. It was the moment I felt it, he turned around and started barking. Like I hadn't even had a chance to say anything. And he
Wow.
wasn't just like he was angry. Like he was like, "Get the fuck out of my house!" Like
Did he like you?
he liked me fine. He was just an asshole.
Did he ever bark at you?
No,
Okay.
he got a little bitey if you pet him a lot, but
Uh-huh.
that wasn't even until much later. Like they, that was as he got older, he became a little asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one that's because of how he reacted.
Right.
And it could even be that, he saw we freaked out, so he was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm freaking out over here too.
Yeah. Dogs are kind of down for whatever whenever people do stuff, so.
And he knows that
Are we
whatever
freaking
freaked us
out? Ah!
he knows that whatever freaked us out is behind us.
Yeah.
So that could
That's
be explained
possible.
away, but it felt so like I said, it wasn't like I felt pressure on my shoulder. It was I felt every individual finger digging in like a parent being like, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking insane and the most terrifying thing I've ever felt in my life. And then just and we spent the rest of the night in the bedroom, just like door locked, the dog with us. We were like, nope, nope, we're not leaving.
Oh
We
my
like cuddled
god.
the dog, and we are like, oh god, oh god, oh god. It took a
Oh,
good like hour to finally calm down when nothing had happened, and it's like,
wow. And then well, and he was barking at the door
yeah, he was
and
barking at the door.
growling at the door. And
Yeah, and if it was just like
if it
he
was your energy, he'd be growling at you, I would think.
exactly like he didn't.
Yeah.
The only time he was ever directed at me was when I was sitting there and I felt the thing behind me, whatever it
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
And it was like, and I felt loomed over too. It wasn't just like, oh, pressure. It was like, what the fuck? Something is like, it feels like someone is standing over me.
Mhm.
And like,
I would like to
yeah,
take this opportunity to reiterate that I'm an atheist and a big skeptic. But
same.
I want to believe. I just want to be proven wrong, frankly.
Yeah,
So if anyone
like,
out there thinks they can prove me wrong, I accept the challenge.
that'd be awesome. I do believe in most situations there's an explanation.
Yeah.
Because, like, first of all the weird shit in nature, all the weird sounds animals make, all the
Mhm.
weird, like, the way darkness plays tricks on our eyes. Like, I have no, like, I don't think anyone that saw the weird shit that people saw and started thinking there was monsters and shit
Mhm.
is all that
Yeah.
weird. It's all pretty explainable.
Well,
But I
also
also,
the human mind has been proven to like fill in gaps.
it's
It's
true.
like it'll make things out of nothing
Well,
too
that's
sometimes.
how you get the situations where like you see something in the corner of your eye
Mhm.
and it's like there might be something there, but you have filled in. Like there is not what you saw there at all.
Right.
And with that, it's like if people didn't understand the science behind it, like we got science now, we can explain these things. If they didn't really have that, like the
Yeah.
everyday people didn't have full educations and stuff,
Yeah.
like of course you're gonna think it's a fucking demon or like
Right.
a
Exactly.
ghost or you're being haunted.
I feel like that's just what we come up with when we don't know the answer.
Yeah. Also,
But just
human.
because you don't know the answer doesn't mean it's like magic
Yeah,
or a ghost or whatever.
exactly. And like when you don't understand how things and like first of all, the human body works really fucking weird.
Hmm.
The universe and physics has a lot of weird like
Oh
things.
yeah.
So it's like I am skeptical because I feel like most things can be explained.
Yeah.
But one, it's way more fun to think of it the spooky way.
Oh, definitely.
I like getting both because I like hearing the spooky way, and if there is an
Hmm.
explanation, I love hearing it because I love dissecting
Yeah.
how it happened. I think it's your turn for spoops now.
Did you all go through all your stories?
I got through all my stories.
Okay.
My weird ass little town with my weird ass magician.
Let's start, I guess, with dreams or visions
Okay, okay.
and go into that. I have had a couple times in my life, I've had literal fever dreams
Yep.
that predicted deaths.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean the spoopy side of my brain wants to believe that the veil between life and death is thinner when you have like a fever and illness and stuff,
Yep.
and that would make sense. Of course, I also the first time it happened, I knew the person was ill.
Mhm.
It was actually at the same time when my family was redoing the house. Like I mentioned last time, when it was the first time I ever watched uh, clowns.
The killer clowns from
Yes,
space or
Killer
whatever.
Clowns
Yeah.
from Outer Space. Yeah, it was that during that same time. I got really sick, and I was down in that basement bedroom at my parents' house, and just kind of in and out of consciousness, fighting my fever, and someone was
Yeah.
fucking hammering linoleum or new carpeting upstairs right above my head. It was just terrible. But at some point, I had a dream that my uncle died,
Okay.
and he'd been sick. He had either emphysema or lung cancer. I can't remember which. Um, but I dreamt that he died, and all my aunts were blaming me for some reason. That's
Oh,
a
in
whole
your
other
dream. I thought
thing.
you meant in real life for a second. I was like, what?
Right, right. And when I woke up from that dream, later that day, we got the phone call that he passed away.
That's
And I was like,
yeah.
whoa, yeah. But yeah, I don't remember how long he'd been sick either. So, like, I don't know if he was sick for a while and then passed, or if he'd just been diagnosed and that was still fresh in my mind. But yeah, that it was the same day I woke up from that dream.
Yeah.
And the other time, I don't remember who it was. I think it was like some spiritual leader guy or writer or a folk singer. I can't remember.
Okay.
But I dreamt randomly that that person died, and when I woke up, I found out that they died, and I had a fever that night too. Which yeah. So every time, if whenever I get sick and have a fever, I'm like, I hope I get to connect through the veil again or something. But yeah, like with that second one, who knows? I could have like someone could have had the news on a TV in another room, and it trickled into my subconscious or
Yeah.
something.
I was even gonna say for your uncle, it could be like your parents. You heard your parents talking about how sick he was, and he probably was gonna make it through the night or something, and then
Maybe
dreamt about it. Could have been
it's
coincidental,
definitely possible. Yeah.
but it also could be weird. I don't know.
Oh,
I,
and
it's
it's been 30 years. So,
yeah.
oof. So I've had those two dreams,
Yep.
those fever dreams. I don't know that I've had any other fever dreams like that, but I've had, it's, I think mostly they've been dreams. One or two might have been a vision upon waking. It's kind of hard to tell, but
Yeah.
it's surrounding sleep and dreaminess.
Brains get weird around sleepy time.
They do. uh, of people who have people and loved ones who have passed and acquaintances.
Hmm.
Um, well, there was a kind of a guy in a group of friends that I hung out with back in my hometown. I didn't know him that well. He was just kind of he was a friend of a friend. I'd talked to him a time or two, and we were at the same place a time or two, maybe. He always seemed like a nice guy, and he ended up. Uh, can I say this? Self-terminating,
Unaliving.
unaliving,
Hmm.
and I had recurring dreams about him for the longest time afterwards, where he would come to talk to me. I was also struggling with issues,
Hmm.
and
So relatable.
yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's just a way of my brain coping with things too. And he was kind of the first person I ever knew that
Hmm.
did that that I knew of, and I would like talk to him and ask him like if he could come back and telling him that people miss him and all that stuff, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And
That's so sad.
yeah, it was. I always felt this strong connection. It was probably just my neurodivergent brain processing its
How you process the
neurodivergency.
grief. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was yeah. I've had my grandmother and my mother when they passed. I think I had a dream that my mom was at the edge of my bed around the time that she passed, like
Hmm.
after she passed, and just kind of standing there checking in and maybe saying hi or whatever. I don't know. She was just standing there. It wasn't creepy. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like a vision. She was standing, checking in on me, maybe smiling.
Hmm.
Same with my grandma. That definitely. I know that I dreamt that.
Yeah.
I I kind of don't remember the details of my mother's, but my grandma when she passed, I had a dream not long after that she was standing at the foot of my bread of my bed, and she was standing just kind of smiling down at me,
Hmm.
and I wasn't really surprised. I kind of was expecting it at that point because it had
Mhm.
happened when my mom had died or whatever,
Mhm.
and actually it happened with my dog. Uh, I've had 4 dogs now as an adult, and the first one to pass away, little little Daisy May, she like it was a rough week after she passed, and Wotus and I were just kind of collapsed on the couch, and I think we were both like, when you've just been really stressed out and like your sleep hasn't been great, and you finally at some point just kind of collapse and sleep super hard and think like you dream really hard and really
Mhm.
realistically, that kind of thing. And like I was just kind of curled up on the couch sleeping, and like it was the vivid kind of dream where you're dreaming exactly what you're doing at the same time. So it's hard to tell. Like I
Yeah,
was
I've been there.
dreaming that I was sleeping on the couch and I was in the same position, and Daisy came and jumped up on the couch like she always did, and I could feel her on the couch, and she came and snuggled in my arms and spooning her. And in
Aw.
my dream brain, I knew it was Buster, but I wanted to stay asleep pretending it was Daisy for a little bit longer. And
Yeah.
I was also waking up at the same time, and it was neither of them, I don't think. But I was waking up, and she just kind of it was kind of like, have you seen 1408?
I don't think so, but I
Okay, never
might
mind.
have it. Oh no, I have seen that one. That's the one with I don't remember how it goes. I don't remember anything about it
John
though.
Cusack in the
Yeah.
hotel room.
Well, that's a Stephen King story.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I don't remember
Well,
anything about it.
I sound like an asshole comparing it to this, but I don't have children, and I can't have children, and these dogs end up being my children. I put all the love I would have invested into a child into my dogs
Yeah.
ridiculously, but so it was kind of like there's a scene in 1408 where I think people who have seen it would probably know what I'm talking about, but she just
I'll have
kind
to
of
go.
disappeared while I was holding her and waking up.
Oh God,
And
that'd
I
be.
just like woke up into like bawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be
Yeah.
so fucked
I'm
up.
getting teary thinking about
Right.
it.
Sometimes spooky is also sad.
Yeah, it's true. Uh, Buster, who has also passed away, has not visited me because he's a turd. And he's the one I want most to visit me. And he's like, nah. So I've had those experiences. Um, and that segues into my dream sleep paralysis that I've had.
Yeah.
So this is back around probably, I don't know, 18 or 19 years old during my Wicca phase ish. Uh, yeah, I used to be a Wiccan back then before I realized that I was atheist, because the thing that always bothered me the most was the personification of deities, even in Wicca or any witchcraft or anything. So, but the universal energy, that kind of stuff always appealed to me. So I had this dream that I and a group of people were doing some sort of ritual,
Mhm.
um, where like I think we were like, God, I can't camera. We were doing this in a circle, and everybody had their hands together
Oh, and yeah. Okay. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, and we were all like kind of spinning our hands
Mhm.
around in a
Mhm.
circle but every time we would spin, like someone, I think next to me, would take their hand off and break the circle, and that's like not good, if depending on what you're doing,
Yeah.
what kind of ritual you're doing, which I think in this ritual in my dream it would let whatever was being summoned out.
Mhm.
And I knew it, and I was freaked out in the dream, and then everything in the dream went dark because I knew something was coming from this ritual, and I think it entered me in my dream.
Mhm.
and everything went dark, and I felt a tap, 3 taps on my in my third eye area on
Mhm.
my forehead. Like, I felt them, it woke me up,
Yep.
and my hand was like this when I woke up. And my first thought was, "Oh god, what if it's still in the room with me?"
Yep.
Which had never occurred to me in any other dream, scary dream in my life. And my second thought was, did I just tap my own forehead to get me out of that dream, or was I reaching up to feel what it was?
Yeah. Cuz like either one's possible, right? Like
Yeah. And either one's kind of freaky, but the was I reaching up to feel what it was the freakiest. And I just kind of laid there for a while, and it was, yeah, one of the most disturbing kind of lucidy dreams I'd had at that point. And I've never had a whole lot other than what I'm going to be talking about. I've never had a lot of God, what are they called? I just said it. The dreams.
the lucid dreams.
The the dream sleep paralysis
Oh,
type
sleep
thing.
paralysis. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that really counts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sleep
I've
terror, maybe a night
night
terror.
terrors, yeah.
I wasn't paralyzed, but it was kind of there's a thing in the room with me feeling.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, that was the first major type one I'd had. I had one or two when I was a lot younger and getting into horror movies back when I was young enough to still be like, what if they are real, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Where I had like a very, very lucid dream, and it was daylight already, morning in my house, and I was so tired but I was so scared. It was Jason Voorhees
Yep.
in the corner of my room. I was looking at the exact same spot when I would try to wake myself up,
Mhm.
and I'd open my eyes and he was gone, but I was so tired I'd close my eyes and he'd still be there, just like in a fucking movie.
Yep.
And like I couldn't keep myself awake, and every time my eyes would slam shut, he'd be closer
Ninja
in my
cat.
dream. Yeah. And I had one about Freddy one time, of course, that I was like, "This is just a dream. You're not real." And he was like, "So," and he raised his claw, but I woke up. So I did that. Yeah, that's my brain. Wait, everything I have to talk about revolves around sleeping and dreaming or being in bed. Why is that?
Well, I mean, human brain is weird.
It is.
And I know I've had so many I can't even remember. There's none that really stand out more than the others, but I have so many dreams like that
Hmm.
where it's like I wake up and I am like just fucked up because I'm just
Yeah.
like, what the hell just happened? What was that?
Yeah.
Like, was I high? I wasn't.
Right?
I can guarantee you I wasn't in any of these situations.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Like, that was like a hallucinatory drug trip, whatever just happened of horror. Like,
Yeah.
I remember one dream I had is we were running from zombies. It was a zombie apocalypse.
Nice.
And we were surrounded, and we discovered that if we threw our nails and our teeth at them, they would go away because it was a distraction and they wanted to eat it too. So they would leave
That's
us alone.
awesome.
Yeah, so the dream
I
we're like
love
each
that.
taking turns ripping out a tooth and throwing it.
Oh my
And,
God.
because it was a group of us, it wasn't just me. Until
Yeah.
when we were all like, by the time we eventually got found by Sam and Dean Winchester.
Hot.
And they saved us. And we're all
Of
like
course.
missing teeth and like ripped
That
out
makes
chunks
sense.
of hair and nails, and we're like, "Hey, Sam and Dean!" Like it was,
Am I pretty?
"Am I pretty still?"
You want make out?
Hey, Dean. But yeah, it was the weirdest fucking dream ever. That one's not so bad. Yeah, I remember the feeling at the beginning where it was like, I'm ripping my teeth out. This is insane. Like, was
That's
just so weird, and I couldn't wake up from it. And then suddenly Sam and Dean were there.
that is really cool though, because that feels like there are actual like in vampire mythology,
Hmm.
like it's not that specifically, but like like there's some cultures think that if you throw seeds or something down, it'll distract a vampire because they either have to
Hmm.
count
Hmm.
them all first or eat them.
I think it's the same as sugar and leprechauns.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that,
That's a
but
common
yeah,
one. Supernatural creatures being forced to count if you drop something like sand or,
right,
they have to count the
right.
individual grains.
Now, did you know that when you had that dream at that time in your
Oh
life?
yeah, I definitely knew that. That
Okay,
was recently, like in the house we live in now. I had that
okay.
dream. Um,
That's very cool. I
well,
like it.
yeah, yeah.
I would
Okay,
love that if
so
that were in a movie. All right, moving along in my sleep paralysis and getting a little bit more intense and possibly not incriminating myself because nothing happened, but this might scare some people.
okay, I'm here for it.
I was living in a college town for a short time in my youth around 1920. It's kind of my lost year, I
Hmm.
guess. I had a a chunk of money that I had gotten because I got became of age, and it was like a fund for me. It
Okay.
was small, but at the time it was enough to cover quite a few months of living. And so all
Oof.
I did was I moved into this house with a couple friends in this party college town and just did drugs, drank for about 9 months.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I know that contributed, not not necessarily the drugs, the actual effects of the drugs, maybe the like side effects of using them continually
Hmm.
on my sleeping pattern.
Yeah, fucked up
Like
sleeping
like
patterns
I
will
was
do some shit to you.
Yeah, like I was talking about how, like, if you're going through a lot of stress and your sleep is all fucked up and you finally get a chance to really crash and you have really vivid dreams,
Yeah.
it was kind of like that, but a lot. This was recurring in this house where I lived. I had a bedroom. The bedrooms were upstairs in this pretty small little bungalow. My roommate was in one bedroom, and my bedroom was just across the small little landing from it. And we had a third roommate because he slept in the bed with me. It was platonic, but
Hmm.
we shared a bed. We were buddies. We were friends. I started having recurring dreams in this room, in this bedroom that I had every morning in this bedroom. Almost every morning at like 10:20. It was the same exact time every morning. I would wake up to click, screech, and the closet door would open by itself every morning at the same time.
Weird.
This was happening. This was actually true. That was
Yeah.
happening. That wasn't a dream,
Yeah.
but that was just fucking freaky.
That is freaky.
And I never did anything about it. I was just like, oh fuck, the closet's fucked. It's haunted. Whatever. But then I started having dreams, sleep paralysis dreams,
Hmm.
where I would start to wake up and feel like something was sitting on my chest and holding me down, and I was paralyzed, and it was whispering or telling me, like it was like a, I don't know, demonic force or whatever. I don't believe in demons, but whatever people would
Yeah.
say it was. Um, and it started telling me to kill my roommates.
Wow.
And I'm not, I don't have, I don't have any sort of imbalance or anything, like where I hear voices and I feel compelled to do shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that, obviously. But it started happening.
And it only ever happened to you in that house?
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
And it happened at least a couple times that it told me that I needed to kill my roommates. You need to kill them. Like, I'm glad that I wasn't somebody else who couldn't handle that shit and actually did it,
Right?
that lived in that room. I don't know. Like I said, it was mostly marijuana.
Well,
I
we're
mean, I smoked a lot of pot there, but I did do some acid.
okay, maybe then.
I'm not as familiar with long-term or multiple use effects. I didn't do a lot of it. I probably did it 2,
Like,
maybe 3 times while I lived there.
were those the times it happened?
I
Or
don't think
was it,
so.
yeah. Because, like, I know they use, like, acid and stuff for, like, therapy now because it's supposed to, like, help you reset your brain.
Oh, LSD they do?
Yeah.
I think
And
I've heard that.
mushrooms.
Mushrooms, I know. I know they
Hmm.
do that, and well, they're starting to study, yeah, psychedelics in general
I
more.
need to state we do not condone this. Do not do anything like this without the help of your doctor.
No, don't.
Because I know,
Uh-uh.
because we were researching it, because it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't like taking, we talked about it a little bit last episode, I don't really like going into the SSRIs all the time, and they really mess with me more than anything else.
Mhm.
So I'd rather like medicate myself with like weed or something. But
Yeah.
but like, if there's something like that that was like you could just take it at once and you do some guided meditation and shit and it like resets your brain, that'd be amazing.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Well, they do
um
ketamine too,
yep, yep. But
which I
like,
think they do that here.
I
Mhm.
wonder what if, even if you only took it a couple times, if while also fucking with your sleep schedule, if that was enough to make something like that happen, or if it was because if the door is actually opening, this is what makes me go,
Right.
I don't know if that's
That.
explainable or not.
I mean, it could have been just the season and the house settling at that particular time every day because maybe it was the same kind of temperature and the
Maybe
wood was relaxing every day that way.
it's possible, but just
That's what
exactly
I
10,
think.
20 every day kind of makes me
Just the click and scream
like
every morning.
the actual door opening. Yeah, like I totally like house is settled, totally legit. It's just
Yeah.
the exactly 10, 20 every morning is what makes me go,
Yeah, I know. That's weird. If anybody has any ideas on that, please share them. Like
yeah.
if you're like an experienced carpenter or something, or like if you have anything to share.
Or if you know the effects
Yeah.
of acid
Yeah. Yeah.
on dreams, that could totally
And
be what happened there too.
that happened started happening before I did acid too,
Oh,
so
okay, so never mind then.
yeah. But I don't know if the paralysis, the sleep paralysis started happening before or after I'd tried it. So,
It could
but it
also,
definitely happened when I hadn't been doing it because
yeah.
like I said, I only did it like 2, maybe 3 times the entire 9
But
months
you
I was there.
said you definitely weren't sleeping right though because of the partying, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if you're getting fucked up all day every day, your sleep is going to be affected. Like
Yeah.
your REM cycles are going to be kind of fucked. And after you, in my experience anyway, if you go for a long time and have fucked up REM sleep and then you finally get the chance to crash, then it'll come crashing in on you like that and be
Mhm.
really vivid. So,
Yeah. And
it's
like,
probably that's probably what it was, but
sleep
the
deprivation
fuck.
can do some wild things to your brain and body, that's for sure.
Yeah. And
So,
that's the only like full on sleep paralysis I've ever experienced. And I never
yeah.
told my roommates I was dreaming that.
Yeah.
They're probably if they hear this, they'd be like, "What the fuck?" But
We could have been murdered.
could have been murdered. I would never do that.
No.
I love you guys. All right. uh, I guess to my main story, which also involves sleeping. I've spent a lot of time in
Sleeping
bed
is
in
a
my
scary
life.
time, let me tell
Yeah. Okay, this happened when I was probably 7 or 8 years old,
you. Okay.
and I believe I've told you this. Uh, this is around the time when my mother went back to work after having raised my sister and I for a while until I was 7 or 8, because it was the 80s and nobody could live on one income anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
That sounds familiar.
yeah, and she started working nights. So and my dad was working days, so at least one of them would be home with the kids.
Mhm.
Um, and during that time, sometimes I would go and sleep in my parents' bed with my dad, just
Mhm.
because kids do that, you know. Um, and I have always had a lot kind of trouble falling asleep. I read somewhere once that there was a study done, and it takes people an average of like 7 minutes to fall asleep at night, and that has never been the case for me,
Mhm.
except for when I was like super tired as a very young child. But it's just always taken me at least half an hour to just like I have to get comfortable, I have to get in the right frame of mind, and I
Hmm.
think my thoughts and my brain won't shut off forever, even at 7 or 8. So I was doing my thing. My dad was already snoring, sleeping. I think I was on my back and I was on the right side of the bed. And I rolled over to my right side. When I rolled over, there was a little girl about my age standing right there next to the bed.
Hmm.
She had blonde hair, kind of in a page boy cut. She had her back mostly to me, and she had on what looked like kind of white flannel two-piece pajamas
Hmm.
with little blue flowers on them, which is kind of weird because I had a flannel nightgown with little blue flowers on it at one point in my life. Not at that point, but I don't know why. So she was wearing that, and she wasn't transparent, but she was kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah.
hard to hard to explain. Like not completely there.
Hmm.
And she had her arms out like if she were like looking around on the ground looking for something. I don't but she was doing that and she was like slowly turning towards me. And the second like her face would have been facing full me, she just wasn't there anymore. She just
Wow.
winked out of existence.
That's
It's
creepy.
yeah. And the most interesting thing I think, well, the second most interesting thing about it was that I wasn't scared at
Yeah.
all,
I'd be terrified.
but I felt like I was supposed to react like I was scared because that's what people do in that kind of situation.
Yup.
So I laid there for a minute, very still, just kind of almost out of respect or something. I don't know, like, well, this just happened and I'm supposed to be scared. So, but I don't know. My explanation, and I don't actually believe this, but when I rolled over, I had a few pieces of hair that kind of fell over my face, and
Okay.
maybe my brain somehow filled in a gap, but I don't know how my hair could turn into a
Whole person.
full-on
Yeah.
solid little girl wearing pajamas turning towards me.
Yeah. That's weird.
And I was not asleep. I
Yeah.
was fully wide awake. I don't know.
That's
Never
crazy.
happened before or since. And I think at some point I want to talk to my sister, and I think I've told her this in the past. She probably doesn't remember anymore, but I'm gonna see if she ever heard of some little girl looking like that or whatever. I
Yeah,
have
that's
so many different
creepy.
speculations, like if it were a ghost, like
Like when someone lived in the house before, or like,
yeah. All that I know was that some old dude lived by himself in the house before, and it was like built 2 years before we moved in, and nobody died in it that I was
okay,
aware of. Yeah, I actually just remembered a few days ago that I named her Tracy. I I decided that was her name. uh, The little girl.
maybe she didn't come back 'cause she didn't like the name.
Sorry, Tracy.
Sorry,
You can pick your
Tracy.
name. Yeah. I know there were a couple little girls that would come visit, I think their grandparents who lived next door to us, or maybe aunt and uncle, once in a while during the summers, and my sister and I would play with them, and I don't remember what their names were, and I hope it wasn't one of them, but
Yeah.
who knows? She just kind of seemed like she'd lost something, was looking for something, or she was like, "Where the fuck am I?"
Yep.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Like, how did I get
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Maybe it was time travel.
Yeah. Maybe she no clipped from somewhere and then clipped back.
Like maybe like it's a kid who exists today, and she's looking for something in her room right this moment,
I know.
and that's what you saw.
Or it's a kid from another like
Dimension.
alternate reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
alternate
Like
universe.
yeah. And it just
So,
kind of there was a thinny or whatever and she crossed into it for a second and was like, "What the
and
fuck?"
you were
And
like, "What?" And then she
yeah.
disappeared before she saw you. Thank God for
And
her. Because
She was like, "What?" And I was like, "What?"
how scary would it have been for this little kid if she turned around and there's a little kid in her bed.
Right? Maybe she did see me. I don't know. I mean,
Maybe.
she could have, but like I didn't like her face was just about to register
Yeah.
like in my brain and she was gone.
These are the things that are like when you hear stuff like that there could be these things existing.
I believe in the
Antimatter.
possibility of like the potential possibility of um alternate realities
Yeah.
because again, quantum physics.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So,
It's wild to think
yeah.
like if that's, I mean, it could be complete bullshit, but it could be real. Like we don't know. There's so much unexplained out there. How do we know?
Well, if you stayed with us this long, I want to say we appreciate you hanging out and listening to our crazy spoopy stories. And please, if you have any of your own, please submit them. You can email us at spoopandjoop@gmail.com, or you can drop a message below. Or what else do we have?
That's really it. The email. We got the TikTok. We got the
Yeah,
YouTube. Leave a comment. That email is the best place to get us. And
we're
yeah,
gonna probably try to solicit some stories too. We've got some people in mind.
yeah.
So, but thank you for joining us on this spooky October night. And we hope that you
Ooh.
all have a wonderful rest of your fall and a wonderful Halloween. And we will haunt you again soon.
Next full moon.
Next full moon. Be
See
on the
you
lookout.
then.